Hello, welcome to Critical Joke Theory with your host, G.D. Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humorist. Now with new joke technology. I'm G.D. Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. Welcome to Critical Joke Theory, episode 73. Now with new joke technology and open caption for the humor impaired. Toriano Adele Tito Jackson died on Sunday, September 15th, after suffering an apparent heart attack. He was 70. Tito was an original member of the Jackson 5, later known as the Jacksons. He played guitar and sang backup for the moderately successful music group. Little known fact about Tito that I just made up. Tito had a small growth on his head that he covered with an afro. When it grew too large, he covered it with a tam. After his father Joe told Tito to take off that tam hat, eventually that growth grew into the shape of a bowler hat, which he had until the day he died. A comedian friend of mine, Elizabeth Croydon, has a bit about the Jackson 5 commandments. Her first commandment is thou shalt Tito. Embrace the part you play with all of your heart and soul. You do not have to be the star to matter. All matter matters. Rest in peace, Tito. You may not have been the most famous, or the most talented, or the smartest, or the best looking Jackson, but you were a Jackson. And that beat being an Osmond everywhere except Utah. Chad McQueen, son of the legendary fellow Hollywood actor Steve McQueen, has died. He was 63. Chad McQueen's cause of death was undisclosed. How many more people need to die from undisclosed before it's taken seriously? Chad played Dutch in the 1984 film The Karate Kid. He also shared his father's love of fast, classic cars. Rest in peace, Chad. May there be mercy in this dojo. There was another attempted assassination on Donald Trump. That's 2 in 2 months. The current record is held by Gerald Ford, who had 2 attempts on his life in 13 days. This time, the would-be assassin is Ryan Wesley Ruth. Ruth is a disgruntled Trump supporter who voted for Trump in 2016. By 2019, Ruth had become a staunch supporter of Ukraine and went to Ukraine to aid in their war effort. Ruth had donated to Democratic campaigns before supporting Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley during the 2024 GOP primary. Obviously, someone missed a red flag. He supported Ramaswamy. Trump blamed Biden's and Harris's violent rhetoric for the attempts on his life, and J.D. Vance said that the Democrats need to dial back the hateful rhetoric. Couchfuckers say what? If Trump is that concerned for his safety, he could have been in a more secure facility months ago, but he kept delaying his trials. He could be in a nice, safe prison with hundreds of his J6 followers. True to form, Trump cannot accept responsibility for his actions or his words. If he didn't want the chickens to come home to roost, he shouldn't style his hair like a nest. Sean Diddy Combs will remain in federal custody after his legal team argued for his release on a $50 million bond in a court on Wednesday. Judge Andrew L. Carter Jr. ruled that Combs would remain in jail due to the risk of witness tampering and obstruction in his case, according to CNN and the New York Times. Carter said the government proved, quote, by clear and convincing evidence, close quote, that no amount of bail could guarantee Combs wouldn't tamper with witnesses. Only GOP candidates for president are allowed to tamper with witnesses. Private Travis King, who was detained after fleeing to North Korea, will plead guilty to 5 military charges. King was charged with 14 offenses under the Uniform Code of Military Justice after his release from North Korea last September following lengthy negotiations. Mr. King will plead guilty to deserting and assaulting an officer, as well as 3 counts of disobeying an officer, his lawyer, Franklin D. Rosenblatt, said on Monday. 9 charges, including possession of sexual images of a child, will be withdrawn and dismissed under the terms of the deal. So, King is a Republican? Quote, he wants to take responsibility for the things that he did, close quote, says Rosenblatt. So King is not a Republican. Israel says it has killed a top Hezbollah commander, Ibrahim Akil, in a strike on Beirut, fueling fears of an all-out war on the Israeli-Lebanon border. It is being reported that there were 12 killed and 66 wounded in the attack, on top of the at least 12 killed and at least 3,000 people injured in the pager explosions and 14 killed and 450 injured on Wednesday's walkie-talkie attack. A spokesperson stated that the Israelis are cheating and using terrorist tactics that they wish they'd thought of first. Speaking of attacks on Israel, Trump addressed the Israeli-American Council National Summit on Thursday in Washington, D.C. The Republican candidate, Donald Trump, claimed that he would hold Jewish voters responsible if he loses the November 5th election. Haven't the Jews been blamed enough? Okay, as long as we are blaming, Harvey Weinstein was arraigned this week with new charges. Harvey Weinstein is pleading not guilty to the new criminal charge. The 72-year-old disgraced movie mogul was seated in a wheelchair and sporting a bandage on his right hand and a diaper under his suit. Weinstein pleaded not guilty to a first-degree criminal sexual act against an accuser who has not been publicly identified. Will she be in the future? Depends. Come on, you must have seen that one coming, even if Weinstein's victims didn't. A ProPublica report has revealed that so far 2 Georgia women have died as a result of the Trump abortion ban: Amber Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller. Publica reported on the death of Candy Miller, a Georgia woman who died as a result of the state's abortion ban. Miller's family said that she didn't go to a doctor, quote, due to the current legislation on pregnancies and abortions, close quote. An official state maternal health committee found Miller's death to be, quote, preventable, unquote, and blamed the state's abortion ban. News of Miller's death follows another report from ProPublica on the preventable death of Amber Nicole Thurman, who also died as a result of the Georgia abortion ban. Trump remains defiant and stands by his abortion ban, stating that those 2 deaths do not count. They're black. Send all of your hate mail to Donald Trump, the Supreme Court, the Georgia legislature, and Georgia's Governor Kemp. Now to the economy. In more good news that Biden will not get credit for, the Fed lowered interest rates by 50 basis points. Fed Chair Powell said the labor market is healthy and unemployment is low relative to history, but he recognized that downside risks to employment have increased. The Fed has basically 2 functions: control inflation and to not harm the labor market. This is good news for our economy and our wallets, but I'm sure your vibe won't let you enjoy it. What the fuck is a vibe anyway? And why should it matter? The House failed on Wednesday to pass a 6-month GOP government funding plan that included a controversial measure targeting non-citizen voting, an effort pushed by Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. The first rule of governance is never bring a bill to the floor unless you were certain that that bill had the votes to pass. Pelosi certain. The House vote was 202 to 220, with 14 Republicans voting against it, 2 Republicans voting present, and 3 Democrats voting for it. House Speaker Mike Johnson believes President Donald Trump understands that House Republicans do not have the votes to pass the SAVE Act, following a private meeting between the 2 men on Thursday night. The second rule of governance is Trump doesn't understand shit. And finally, Mark Robinson, the Republican candidate for governor in North Carolina, vowed Thursday in the race following a report that he made dozens of lewd and inflammatory comments more than 10 years ago on the message board of a pornography website under the name Mini Soldier. I guess Mini Soldier is his pet name for his Johnson. Trump just calls it Mike. Like Trump said to Ivana, Marla, and Melania, too late to pull out now. The report published by CNN said Robinson, in post to a pornographic website called Nude Africa, called himself a black Nazi, expressed support for bringing back slavery, and recounted sexual graphic stories, including one about his memory of, quote, peeping, unquote, on women in gym showers when he was 14. Trump called Robinson MLK on steroids. It might be true. MLK fooled around, but Mark Robinson is a super freak. I'm GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist, now with New Joke Technology. Thank you for watching Critical Joke Theory. If you enjoyed it, please like and share it. And please check out my virtual comedy show called Psychomedy 201, Shoulda Coulda Woulda Told That Joke, Part 2, being streamed live on plausible.com on Friday, September the 27th. Join Plausible and join the fun. And please check out Done Way Past Funny on YouTube, Knob TV, and Spark TV. Also watch The Church of Last Resort streaming live on Sundays on YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern. Be safe out there, and don't feed the crazies. Critical Joke Theory with your host, GD Fenderson, certified forensic humorist. Now with New Joke Technology.